So Luke chapter 2, verses 1 to 7. At that time, Emperor Augustus ordered a census to be taken throughout the Roman Empire. When this first census took place, Quirinius was the governor of Syria. Everyone then went to register himself, each to his own hometown. Joseph went from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to the town of Bethlehem in Judea, the birthplace of King David. Joseph went there because he was a descendant of David. He went to register with Mary, who was promised in marriage to him. She was pregnant, and while they were in Bethlehem, the time came for her to have her baby. She gave birth to her first son, wrapped him in cloths, and laid him in a manger. There was no room for them to stay in the inn. It's really good to be here. Merry Christmas to you all. I wonder if there's anyone who's travelled a long way to be here this morning. Has anyone travelled longer than 5 minutes? Hands up. Anyone longer than 10 minutes? 15? 30? An hour? Glasson and Co. How long have you guys travelled? 40 minutes? Can anyone beat 40 minutes? Possibly not 40 minutes. It's quite a long time. Good commitment. It's great to have you guys here. I hope it was a nice journey. It's lovely to see you all. Also, if you've made a short journey to get here this morning, it's just as lovely to see you. Your commitment is just as appreciated. In terms of the big bad journey competition, though, no one really comes close to Mary and Joseph. They had to get from Nazareth all the way to Bethlehem, which is 80 miles. For context, and because I run, I like to tell people that I run because that's what people who run do. I run about 60 miles a week. It's about 100 kilometres a week. They had to travel 80 miles just in 1 week. So that's a long way. Had to travel through the mountains whilst pregnant. Mary was pregnant, without cars, and they didn't even have like Lime bikes that they could hop on, anything like that. But also, like mentioning it, probably jumping on a Lime bike would not be the wisest idea, because if they had chosen Lime bike to travel, they probably would have crashed into a pedestrian in like 5 minutes, and they never would have made it there. But yeah, anyway, obviously that's just a very bad joke that I should have asked Becca, my wife, to proofread my scripts to take them out. But she's not here this morning, so I can make all the bad jokes I want. The world of Mary and Joseph obviously did not have Lime bikes. It had camels and sandals and Roman emperors who could suddenly decree that all the world should be registered. He just sat there in his palace, Emperor Augustus, having grapes fed to him, and he's like, I want to know everyone who lives in my empire. And then just everyone, the entire world, has to go back to their hometown to register in a census. Imagine having that kind of power. Like in the lead up to Christmas, you ask people what kind of things they want for Christmas, what you could buy for them. So I asked my family, what would you like for Christmas? Didn't get any response. I asked again, could you please send me what you'd like for Christmas? Because otherwise it's not going to be a good gift. You're going to end up with socks. Again, no response, no list. I don't even have the power to get my family to register their gift list with me. And yet Emperor Augustus can just click his fingers and the whole world just kind of trundles into motion to register for him in this census. The author of Luke's Gospel is a genius storyteller. And one of the things that we consistently see throughout the Gospel is this idea of like reversal. So we've got Augustus, and Luke kind of is saying, like, sure, Augustus, you can order everyone to register in the city of their birth. You've decided to do that. You can make everyone move everywhere. You're kind of a king. You have some power. You can do that. But Luke's story is saying, like, hey, guess what? In all of the chaos of that census that you ordered, a little baby is being born. And this baby is King of Kings and Lord of Lords. He's the Son of God. He's the Saviour of the entire world. This new coming king does not need to call a census because he already knows each of us by name. And he loves us and he cares for us. He's the way, the truth and the life for us. And so one of the things that Luke is kind of showing in this story is that Augustus might be the most powerful human on the planet, but he's nothing compared to Jesus. Augustus is emperor, but there's a new king coming, and this king is the baby Jesus. That New Zealand kid said. At this point in our story, though, and we've seen the whole story, we're familiar with the whole Christmas story with the shepherds and the angels. We've heard the birth announcements. Some of us have maybe read some of the Old Testament prophecies. We've got like the baby shower coming to Mary and saying, hey, you're going to have a baby, with all the promises declaring the majesty of Jesus. And we're in a sermon series actually called The Adventures in the Incarnation. And so as we continue in this series, we're going to see that these prophecies and these birth announcements, they're true. Jesus really is who everyone said he would be. He really is worthy of praise and worship. He's worthy of a life of loving obedience to his way. But for now this morning in our passage, I just want to slow things down, and I don't want to get too excited about the prophecies and the majesty and the declarations and stuff like that. I want to slow things down and just focus on one real simple thing. Because the story of Jesus, it's been one of excitement and anticipation. The King is coming. Help is on the way. Light is waging war against darkness, and darkness cannot overcome it. It cannot even comprehend it. We've got peace, we've got hope, joy, love. Like, they're wrapped up, they're under the tree, they're just ready and waiting for us to open with Jesus. In the story of Jesus that we've just read, that particular story, Luke chapter 2, like that very specific passage that we've read, like, let's be honest, there's not a lot of fanfare. There's not a lot of fuss, there's not a lot of frills, not yet. The shepherds and stargazers, they're on their way, but they're not here yet. That's the point. For now, there is simply Jesus, born in a manger, wrapped in cloth, held in the loving arms of an adoring Mary and Joseph. Jesus is born. God is with us. It's not particularly spectacular. It's not very flashy. It doesn't happen in the maternity wing of a grand palace in Jerusalem. Instead, amidst the chaos of a census, after a long and difficult journey, born in an overcrowded guest house and a room that's normally reserved for animals, God enters creation. This story that we celebrate is simple, and it's precious, and it's a little bit messy. We sing about the silent night, but anyone who's been to a birth or maternity ward knows that it probably really was not a silent night. It was probably a very, very, very noisy night. But this is glorious news that God has entered creation. God is with us. And if we just kind of skip straight ahead to the angels or skip straight ahead to the wise men, we can lose that fact. So my message is pretty simple as well this morning. Like, sure, we live in a really totally different world to Mary and Joseph because, for example, when there is a census, we just fill out a form online or in the post. When we need to travel long distances, we can use vehicles with engines and air conditioning and that aren't fueled by carrots. Like, if you guys had to travel by camel this morning, 45 minutes by car, that's a long way by camel, I think. If we need a place to stay overnight, instead of just rocking up at the inn, we can just go onto booking.com and then make a booking for like booking.yeah, or whatever their slogan is. We're not sponsored by booking.com in this sermon, but I do like their slogan. So there are real differences in the worlds between us and the world of Mary and Joseph. But in many ways, our worlds are actually really still the same. We have got some peace in our world, but we'd like more. We've got some hope and joy and love, but we'd like more. We still live in a chaotic world where people get hurt and relationships are messy and where wealth and power are often misused for evil. But in the same way as for Mary and Joseph, the same is true for us. The good news is that our King is coming and he'll make all things new. This good news is to be celebrated. That's why we're here this morning. It is to be shared. It's to be absorbed by us in such a way that it transforms our entire lives. All of that at this current point in Luke is to come. All of that is to come for Mary and Joseph, and all of that is to come for us. And so the question that we have this morning is, what about the present? The present in Luke chapter 2 is a baby in a manger in the middle of personal and political chaos. Mary and Joseph respond with love and care. They treasure their baby Jesus. And the present for us. And I don't really know. I don't know your exact situation. I don't know what you'd be going home to. I'd hazard a guess that at Christmas there can be chaos. Families are visiting, friends are messaging, Brussels sprouts are boiling, memories are resurfacing, and tensions sometimes might be rising. Amidst all of this, the joy and the sometimes drama of Christmas, the Nativity gives us the most wonderful and joyous relief. God is here. God is with us. God knows you and God loves you. So we're going to celebrate, continue celebrating just finally the birth of Jesus now by singing Joy to the World. And then we're all going to leave the church building and we're going to go back home and we're going to go back to our normal lives, back to reality. My message that I want to encourage you with this morning is this, that reality that we're going back to, the reality is that Jesus is born. God is with us. The Lord of all creation became a human, defeated sin and death, so that all who follow him and call on his name can have life and life in all its fullness. That's the good news of Christmas. That's the good news that we're celebrating. That is the joy to the world that we are just about to sing about. So we're going to sing Joy to the World. We're going to encourage the earth to receive our King. And if you can, over Christmas, let's try and make time and space for Jesus, Christmas and beyond. Amen.